Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just some DC news. So we are almost into the month of June, just a week to go, which of course means 1 month until the much anticipated, but I guess nervy for some, release of Superman in theaters. And it should be in that back half of June where promotion hits, I'd say like 110% speed, and we should get a final trailer just to sort of get to the finish line or hit the finish line with some sort of decent momentum. Though of course July will be a very competitive month in theaters for Superman, alongside Jurassic World a week before Superman comes out, and then 2 weeks later we of course have Fantastic Four. And for some reason people are saying that Smurfs the week after Superman could somehow be a competitor. I don't know. But the hope is that it does stand out, which I think so far it's doing a pretty good job at it. Now, there were some very early box office like tracking numbers, and it was saying like that Superman might open up like high 100 million, so like 160 to 180 or something domestic. But most people know that those can be very misleading, especially this far out, both in regards to underperforming as well as overperforming what is the eventual number when the movie comes out. So they say, oh, it's tracking for 160, and then the realistic thing when it comes out, it's like 120. So you just don't know. You don't really pay attention to those things. But, I guess it's still somewhat interesting to look at how it's tracking, but definitely don't rely on those numbers. But over the past few days, we got some news regarding a few different projects, including Superman and just the DCU coming our way as a whole, so let's go over it. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything we go over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking, and of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, drop a like. It takes 2 seconds. So the first thing to look at, literally, is a new look at Superman. This is him just within the Fortress of Solitude. We can see the entrance, I guess, also / exit of the Fortress of Solitude there. And I think this is the best look that we've had so far, like in regards to how Superman looks, the pose, just looking very Superman-esque, the cape there, the boots look, I think it looks really, and maybe it's because it's within the Fortress of Solitude, but I just think it looks really solid. Yeah, I still hate those goddamn lines on the suit, especially on the top half. I think they, in all honesty, are just straight arse, but this, I think, is like the best look we've had so far, just in regards to a single thing, especially in like a bit of a, not new setting, because we've seen the Fortress a bit, but just in regards to how Superman's posing and everything like that, I think it just looks really solid. But as I was saying earlier, like as we get into maybe the next week, but specifically June, and then of course, the beginning of July, you're going to get more and more looks and everything like that. But, I'm actually getting more and more fond of just the overall style and everything in this movie as we get closer. I was never against it. Like, there's things I don't really like, as I said, like the lines on the suit. But everything's sort of like been, positive for me for the most part, but not, oh, I'm like really looking forward to it. Like, I can't wait until I'm sitting there in the theater. It's like, I'm looking forward to it, and that's about it. But the more and more stuff that comes out, especially just specifically the Superman as a character, or the Superman related characters, not like the Guy Gardners and the Hawk Girls and stuff like that, but the Superman related characters you'd expect to be in a Superman film, the more I see more of that, it gets me more excited. So hopefully I get more excited over the next, month and a half until the movie comes out. But the next thing to talk about is, once again, Superman related. And this is something that's interesting, but also sort of confusing as to whether it still happened, because Amazon.com included a banner on their site that's now been removed, but it was advertising a, quote, prime early screening, as you can see on screen, on July 7th, where then the film then comes out July 11th/12th, I think, depending on where you live. Now, as I said, this has been removed. This also does give you this banner here gives you a better look at the Metropolis skyline. We have the Daily Planet in the forefront, and then you can see Luthor Corp in the background. Now, this was removed. I don't know if it's because maybe it was a thing that they were thinking about months ago, and now they're not going to do it, or the certain competition doesn't start running until June, and this was just released early. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if there's been any sort of clarification on what's going on here. Now, the big thing with this is that, when it's a prime early screening, does this mean they do it in the theater, or people get a code to watch it at home? I don't know, because Amazon Prime's a goddamn streaming service. But I think it depends with, there's always this, hesitance around early screenings and stuff like that, and I think it depends. I think this date, 4 or 5 days before the movie comes out, that's fine. That's fine. I don't know if there's going to be these ridiculous deep spoilers in the film of Superman, outside of maybe who Ultraman is, maybe who the Hammer of Baravia is, and then maybe some like canon stuff within this universe. Like they might say who a certain person holding a mantle is, or they might name drop a certain character existing that isn't in the advertising material, hasn't been talked about in a previous show, like Creature Commandos or whatever it is. So that I can understand the concern there about spoilers getting out, but it's not like The Flash, for example, which had I saw The Flash like I think it was like 2 months before the movie came out. And I remember when I got that invite, I was like, why? I was like I was excited to see the movie, but at the same time, why am I seeing this movie like 6 to 8 weeks before it comes out? Show it to me a week before it comes out. Why am I seeing it 2 months before it comes out? That makes no sense. Because even if I say positive stuff, it wanes off and everything like that. And also, in regards to the spoiler thing, it is 2 months for those spoilers to get out. It's much more harder to contain compared to like, 3 or 4 days like this. So I'm fine with early screenings like this, especially if people actually have to go into a competition. It's a bit of effort. It's not like someone just rocks up and watches it. So I have nothing, against them doing these early screenings that people don't want it. And it's mainly just because I guess this would be like an American thing. And if you're in England or whatever, you don't get a chance to see it early, or at least be in the running to see it early. So I can understand the concern there, but I don't know. I don't think this movie is going to have that many like massive spoilers in regards to where it would ruin the viewing experience, while that can happen with other movies like an Avengers or something like that. But speaking of the DCU coming our way and just the overall thing, James Gunn did confirm the timeline of his DCU, coming our way or already started, and it's pretty simple. I know it sounds like, oh, like why would he even have to say this, but it's the thing that makes sense, and the only thing that's going to sort of swap that up in regards to how he's laying it out now is if you have a prequel project. So for example, something like Sergeant Rock is coming our way, that could mess up, I guess the cleanliness in regards to this release. But he said his timeline literally just corresponds with the release order of the things. So Creature Commandos is first in the timeline, then it's Superman, then it's Peacemaker Season 2, then it's Lanterns, then it's Supergirl. So once again, we're getting a bit of confirmation that Lanterns is going to come out before Supergirl. So as I said, that's all those movies take place, or shows take place one after the other, just literally in that release order, which I think is a pretty clean way to do it. Of course, you're going to face issues where, especially if there's like a delay for whatever reason, like maybe you start filming something, then there's a delay, and then it's like, well, do you bother trying making it come out, or like timeline wise in the actual universe, or you just go with the punches and go, okay, for this one instance, that's meant to come before the thing that came after it, or whatever it is. But as I said before, there's something like Sergeant Rock, which is going to be placed in World War II, which is going to mess up that thing. And I'm sure there'll be other things as well. Like there's rumors that like Teen Titans there might be some flashback stuff there, or it might be set like earlier in the timeline and everything like that. So there's going to be different projects, but I think it's not going to be like a recurring thing. Like, oh, once every 3 projects, there's something set 10, 20, 50, 60 years in the past. It's every now and then. It's probably going to be smaller projects as well, like a Sergeant Rock. And then if they do like a Justice Society thing, you'd expect that to be set in the past as well. But then there's a project like Lens where it's set in the present day for the main story, but we essentially know there's going to be flashbacks as well. But they're flashbacks. It's not like the entire season is set 10, 20, 30 years in the past. It's just for a scene every now and then. And the final thing to go over in this video is regarding the Batman 2, or the Batman Part 2, whatever you're calling it. And of course, this is a very topical thing in regards to what the hell's happening here. And The Wrap did an exclusive article called simply "What is Going On with Matt Reeves's The Batman Part 2 script?" And there's a bunch of random crap in there, but I've condensed it, like I've taken the 2 paragraphs that actually matter, and this is what they had to say. According to an insider with knowledge of the project, Reeves has been sending pages for more than half a year, and the first full draft of the script is expected to be delivered by Memorial Day. For those that don't know, that's this coming Monday, so the 26th. The film was originally set to hit theaters in October of this year, so just a handful of months away, but it was pushed back due to stalled script development during the 2023 actors and writers strikes. As for the follow-up to The Batman, it will remain separate from the otherwise interconnected DC Studios continuity. Which, I mean, we've sort of, already... I think it would have been way too messy to try and fold them in. I think that's something we would have had to do before Superman was even being developed. And you look at the Batman and its universe from the first movie, it's like, you have to use that as like the starting off point. I don't think you can have anything happen before that. Everything has to happen after. But as we know with the DCU, we're jumping into a fully fledged, already functioning universe for, ages, with a lot of metahumans being there. There's going to be heroes in the 40s and 50s and all that, in the 90s and the 80s. The Batman couldn't have folded into that unless you do some weird crisis multiverse combining crap. And, well, they're not going to do that at least for now. That might happen like 10 years from now. We don't know. But for now, that's not happening. Now, for me, I'll be completely honest. I like the Batman, the first film by Matt Reeves. I think it's a hard movie to not like. It's just well done. I think it's a pretty cool movie. But at the same time, for the sake of the DCU and a consistent there with no real hiccups and roadblocks and speed bumps, I actually really wouldn't care if they canceled this movie. I think it was actually like an impediment to the DCU and just what DC Studios was trying to do. I really wouldn't care if they canceled this movie. But the first one, as like a post-COVID movie, made like, did it make almost 800? I can't remember if it passed 800 million. If that was like normal times, it probably gets to or passes a billion potentially. And it was such a big like pop culture thing as well. Like it would be silly not to try and continue this. But on a personal note, I really wouldn't care. But business wise, you can understand why they're still pushing to get this second part done and make sure it actually gets made. But it's just going to be interesting to see how it folds along and if it now sticks to its release date. And from what they're saying here, the script's going to be delivered soon, which of course then gets the ball rolling. We just know that Robert Pattinson, for example, is committed to the third Dune movie, which is filming at the end of this year. So they won't be able to start filming the second Batman film until at least the beginning of next year at the earliest. So it's not too bad. I mean, if it got delayed like another time, then there'd be, I think, big alarm bells going. Like, hold on, we got to sort something out here. But I think for now, it's fine. It's just people are impatient, which I can understand as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on everything we went over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.